President Obama will deliver what could be his most important State of the Union address on Tuesday when he speaks for the first time before both chambers of Congress since his re-election last November. Let's bring in our gaggle to talk about it. From the Center for American Progress, Danielle Gibbs-Leger, the Washington Examiner's Susan Ferrechio, from the National Review, Jim Garrity, and NBC White House correspondent Kristen Welker. Kristen, let's start with you because a little birdie told me you have a little State of the Union address news.
Yeah, a little bit of coming out of the White House this morning, Chris. The White House looking at this speech as really the president's best chance to map out what he hopes to accomplish, not just in the next 4 years, but really what he is hoping to aim over the next year, year and a half. His best chance to get some of those larger policy initiatives passed, like immigration control, like enacting stiffer gun control laws. But I am being told this morning that the economy will be a key focus of the president's State of the Union address. Of course, that is still the big issue, with the unemployment rate at 7.9%, and we just got that GDP report which showed that the economy contracted in the fourth quarter. Just to take you behind the scenes here a little bit, Chris, I am told that the president has a strong working draft at this point. His staff has worked hard to make sure that his schedule was kept light, specifically in the evenings this week, so that he could work on his State of the Union address. At this point in time, he doesn't have anything on his schedule for this weekend so that he can dedicate his time to sort of working on final tweaks and practicing. And I'm also told this morning, Chris, that as is tradition, he will be hitting the road in the days after the State of the Union to sell his message.
The selling of the State of the Union. Okay, let's, guys, I want to talk about this with Kristen, the economy. We probably shouldn't be terribly surprised, but Danielle, let's start with you. The inaugural speech was sort of fascinating in that it was more of a nuts and bolts speech. He talked about gay marriage, he talked about Medicaid, Social Security, he talked about climate change. He didn't really talk that much about the economy. So I guess not terribly surprising that this State of the Union speech talks about it.
Right, no, not at all. And, you could look at the inauguration address as sort of a preview to the State of the Union, a curtain raiser, if you will. So I'm not surprised that they're going to focus on the economy, because even though things are getting better, they will be the first to acknowledge that there are still steps that they want to put in place to help get more people back to work.
And, Susan, how aggressive, one of the things I've been kind of stunned by, both with the inauguration and President Obama's sort of general tactics after getting reelected, he's basically said, look, here's how it's going to be. Fiscal cliff, debt ceiling. Even on immigration, he said, there's room, but look, Republicans need to get religion on this. Do you expect a similar tone here for State of the Union?
I think he knows he's got a limited amount of time.
Right.
They feel like they have somewhat of a, so-called mandate from their victory, not losing the Senate, and his victory over Mitt Romney. I think it's kind of full speed ahead for the president right now. He's going to go as bold as he can go, limited amount of time. I think, though, I disagree a little bit on the economy. I think it's a bit of a course correction for him. I feel like maybe he's probably second-guessing, not talking about the economy during his inaugural speech. Now he's going, maybe I should have talked about that. Now it's coming
Which is fascinating, just because if you look at the first term, in a lot of ways, he started off, you had a Republican Party that was largely kind of in the doldrums, and he started off with economic stimulus and health care, which united the party in some way. And is he smart to focus on the economy, Jim? And that's probably the more important question. Is there actually, we had Angus King on a few minutes ago saying there's common ground. Is there common ground on big things?
You saw the working group on background checks for gun control that you saw with Coburn and Schumer. You saw the Gang of Eight that's trying to come together with immigration. It'll be very interesting in this speech if Obama kind of hints that he could endorse whatever they come out of. I should point out that, when Marco Rubio and when Chuck Schumer described the exact same, allegedly this exact same legislation, it sounds very different. So this may all look very different once it's actually on paper.
I mean, it's like always,
everybody feels the elephant
in the details. Exactly. Hey, Kristen, what, if anything, does the White House, have they given any indication on, you said the selling of it? We know he only went to swing states during the last couple of years because of his reelection. This is more about Barack Obama, sort of his legacy, what he leaves as his legacy. Do we have any sense on where he's going and what the sort of selling points will be?
Well, the White House is being very mum about that point, and we're hoping to get more details about where specifically he's going to go throughout the day. But of course, what I can tell you, Chris, is that on any given day, he will probably be highlighting different aspects of his State of the Union address, whether it be immigration one day, gun control another day, and then, of course, the economy. And I heard you talking about common ground. I can tell you I've been talking to some of my Republican sources this morning who say they will be listening very closely to this speech to see if the president draws any hard lines, specifically as they enter these final weeks and they fight over the sequester, about how to try to stave off those deep spending cuts that are set to go into effect on March 1st. So that's what they're going to be listening to in this speech.
Danielle, let me come back to you, and then we'll come back with all of you guys after the break. But is there an order, a preferred order, that the Democratic-based liberals in the party would like to see President Obama go about these issues? Because we have immigration, guns, and sort of the sequester, economy, debt and spending all out there.
Right.
Is there a preferred sort of menu?
You know, I think within certain groups, certainly, like, immigration activists want to see their,
gun control activists want gun control.
Exactly. But no, I think people just want to see things get done, and I think they realize that the president and Congress can walk and chew gum at the same time. So they just want to see action. They want to see things move forward. That theory will be tested.
It will indeed. We'll see. Walk and chew gum, maybe. Let's bring back the gaggle. Homeland fan Danielle Gibbs-Leger, Susan Ferrechio, Jim Garrity, and Kristen Welker. Okay, Susan, I want to start with you. Look, I can't get enough of Hillary Clinton. I'll just admit it. I'm just fascinated by the story. Quinnipiac poll out this morning. Hillary Clinton favorable 61, Hillary Clinton unfavorable 34. How does that compare to Joe Biden, her potential 2016 challenger? 46-41. She's more popular than anyone else on this list. These numbers are not terribly surprising. No, I mean, she just spent 4 years as our top.
People have been talking about her as a presidential candidate since the day after 2008. Let's face it. And when things weren't going well for President Obama, they say, well, if we had elected Hillary. So she's still humongously popular. There are a lot of people who were angry that President Obama got the nomination in 2008. They want Hillary to get her shot. Of course, these are very early polls, and they will always come down to real campaign.
And she knows, right, Jim? And she's been in this game long enough. She knows that as soon as she announces, some of those numbers drop. Right?
5 to 10% that goes off. I will point out, recently Paul Ryan, in an attempt to come take a shot at Obama, said, look, if we elected Hillary in 2008, the economy would be fixed by now. I think it's time for that talk to stop. Republicans should not be talking about how great Hillary is, how fantastic she is. No, that's fine. She'd be every bit as bad, and there's no difference between the two of them.
Okay.
Stop
Good advice by Jim Garrity for Republicans. Danielle, I want to talk about Stephen Colbert. He is speaking at the House Democratic retreat. This is the latest in a series of pep talks for Democrats, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden. You know, they had a hearing with Stephen Colbert that turned a while ago, but it turned a little bit into a sideshow. I mean, this guy is an entertainer. Is it?
I think that's fine. Democrats want to be entertained as well.
Democrats like to laugh.
They like to laugh. It's not a hearing. I think it's good to lighten things up every now and then, and you know, bring a little perspective, even if it's a different perspective.
And hey, Kristen, talk about star power. Bill Clinton and Stephen Colbert in the same room together.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a lot of star power there talking to the House Democrats. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, Stephen Colbert has been having a lot of fun with the fact that his sister is running for a congressional seat in South Carolina. So I expect we're going to hear a lot more about that moving forward as well.
I don't know who's more famous, Stephen Colbert or Bill Clinton. I think Clinton by a nose. Jim Garrity, shameless plug.
Sure. My son in kindergarten was named the anti-bullying ambassador for his class. Hey. So I'm putting diplomatic plates in our car.
As you should.
Our editorial page editor, David Perdoso, has a new book out called Spin Masters about how the media helped President Obama win the election. On sale now in hardcover.
And he now owes you. Danielle.
My colleague Scott Keyes at Congress has been doing some great reporting on the ground from gun shows, talking about responsible gun legislation. Happy birthday, Marlene, Billy, and Catullus.
Kristen Welker.
I will be covering the White House all day tomorrow on MSNBC and NBC, and I will have updates on the State of the Union address throughout the day, so tune in.
And for mine, a little bit of a sad note, but my wife's uncle, Kevin Metter, passed away this week suddenly. We're thinking of you, Kevin. We're thinking of your family. Love you. Hope you're looking down on us and smiling.